Good morning. It is bright and early. Well, it's 7 a.m. on the dot almost. And we got our first frost in the summer since the end of June. So we've gone about 2 months without frost. It's August 23rd and I woke up and it was 29. The barnyard's wide awake, and a low of 28 last night. Now, everything in this garden, including my sunflowers, are frost tolerant. Now, the issue is they haven't had frost in 2 months, so I was a little worried about that. So we'll see when the sun hits them. So typically, if you come out right now, when the sun hasn't hit your garden, when it froze, sometimes you can tell if it's a hard freeze. If it's a light freeze, yeah, there's ice on these leaves. Then you can, my brassicas are gonna love this. It's my potatoes. The only thing I'm a little worried about is my potatoes. My sunflowers typically are good till about 15, 17 degrees. Sounds like we're gonna get another frost tonight around 30, about 20 or 20s, 30s. So 2 frosts in a row. So the only thing I'm worried about is my potatoes. And what happens when the sun hits them is the cell walls explode inside of the plant, and that's what causes it to wilt. The freezing just kills the cells inside the plant leaves. A lot of my plants outside are just gonna thrive with this cool and actually be quite happy that it happened. And I strategically do that. The only exception is potatoes. I'll show you these guys. These guys got hit the worst, probably because they're furthest away from the tree. When we come back, I'm going to bring you back and show you what it looks like once the sun comes up over and hits everything today. And these guys are going to just be gross, probably on the ground. These guys, on the other hand, right next to them, I don't think they will be. So we'll see. Yeah, these guys are going to be toast too. You can just really see. I'm gonna flip the camera around so I can show you. Typically, I wouldn't be worried about my sunflowers at all, but because they haven't had the cold nights all summer and they haven't been accustomed to that since the end of June, that does make me nervous that some leaves might be bad, but it didn't get too cold, so 28, they could typically handle that. Oh, it's a little chilly, chilly. These sunflowers are already looking sad just because they were the first ones to bloom and they are coming towards the end of their life. So I'll come back out. I'm sure the potatoes in not my high tunnel, big garden are frosted. It is kind of windy and I'm hoping that it's not too much wind noise for my phone, but I wanted to give you guys an update, and I'm probably gonna go take this giant wagon of weeds to my cows. My oldest son is earning some money cleaning up some of my beds. When I get good news and when I get bad news, if there's like good news, bad news, maybe I should give her the weeds first. She's mooing at me. If there's good news and there's bad news, I always want the bad news first before I get the good news. So that's what I'm here to give you, is the bad news. And then we'll go look at good news. 2 good newses. Yep. This potato patch is a bit sad. Why I'm not super upset is they had a good chance to grow, but also I chitted my potatoes, which means I cut them in half, and I got really small plants this year. They were watered and did everything. They were just little. So I was actually planning on doing an experiment. I always have volunteers in every garden after we harvest potatoes. And I thought, well, what if I just leave the really small plants in They overwinter this year, and then they're kind of like volunteers for next year, but not really. They would hopefully be bigger next year. So that is the plan I'm thinking. And this kind of really helped it with him freezing and biting the bullet. Let's go take the weeds to my girls. Weed eaters. Good news number one. The jungle is spared. Absolutely no damage in here. Didn't even put down all the side. Good news number one. Also, look at that. Oh yeah, do one, baby, do baby. The jungle is safe and sound. Probably gonna go down here and check for some zucchini or summer squash. My tomatoes are starting to come onto the pathway, which is actually helping my cucumbers have a little bit more breathing room. Hello. See right here, they will fall, and they did, so that did help. And now I can see more tomatoes, and I can see more cucumbers and get in there easily. So, welcome to the jungle. I see that could probably get a little bigger. Actually, I think I'm gonna take it. I cut back on my water in here. I was watering twice a day for 45 minutes, and I cut back to once a day for 45 minutes. So it's helping, it seems. I thought I had some gray zucchini that was ready, but I'm actually not seeing it. In the jungle, the mighty jungle. Got a lot of baby cucas. Nothing's ready yet. So yeah, good news number one. Let's go to good news number two. But at this point, you've probably figured that out. Also, I did have to put a padlock on here. I had a misdemeanor deer get in here. Able to slide open that latch. She didn't do too much damage, and it's been like a week or so now since, and you probably didn't notice. So that day I went out and bought a padlock and put it on. Not happening again on my watch. Those tasted good. Go potato. Actually, everything fared good. Awesome. This is the potato plant I showed you this morning. She's still a beaut. I have a couple hypotheses. One, I'm about probably 100 yards away from the other spot, but it did have frost on it. There was ice hanging off a lot of these plants, so I know it did freeze. But there is my pine tree right here. Good old tree beard. And two things. One, he probably kept it warmer, but like I said, I did see the freeze. And two, I wonder if, because I had told you this morning that it's the sun when it hits the cellular wall, like when the sun hits the leaves, it's bursting the cellular walls. And some people will put water on their frosted plants and that can help them. But I'm wondering with treebeard being here, oh, it's windy. With treebeard being here, if it just really helped protect them and like warm them up slowly to the temperatures. I'm just not really sure. I am ready to get them out of my beds. It's not time yet, but I am, because there's way more volunteers in here. Like my volunteer potato plants look way better than the ones I actually purposely planted. And that's because these were whole potatoes. I'm just convinced of it. And maybe chitted potatoes were good for you where you live, but I won't be doing that again. That's for sure. And they are taking up a lot of my brassica bed. So it'll help clear those out once they're harvested, which some of them are blooming, so that's not great. Well, it is great, but it's not, they're not ready to be harvested yet. They'll die back. All right, guys, well, I gotta water my pigs. They're thirsty, guys, and I gotta get in, finish my dinner, and I will see you guys on the next video. We survived our first August frost. Praise report. Bye, guys.